And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast. Check it out on Twitter at Always Press DFS. And we got a big night in store. We have two events, the WGC Dell Championship and then the Corales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. No, it is not some fake tournament on Tiger Woods golf. This actually exists. So we will cover it. But before we do so, I'll introduce my two co-hosts as always. You can find them on Twitter at BPSnow11. Bucks, how we doing?
Doing awesome, Bubba. Two freaking events this week, baby.
Yeah, we're going to attack them both, at least partially, to get you guys rocking and rolling. And in order to do so, our third member of the pod, as always, you can find him on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. He's got to be rolling high after a big NCAA weekend and the bracket just getting destroyed and setting up so nicely for them. Jesse, how we doing?
Doing well, man. I mean, this is DGen's paradise week here. If you want to DGen out on some match play bets, some full Puntacana bets, NCAA basketball, I mean, this is awesome. This is a great week.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff, and we will get right at it. We'll do a quick recap of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's crazy. We say it every week that the season's been awesome, and it just gets better and better and better. And Tiger was amazing, electric on his charge on Sunday. But let's just give credit where credit's due. Let's talk about the winner, Rory frickin' McIlroy. Just stats through the roof. He gains more strokes than anybody in putting, more strokes he's ever done in his career. You can go any stat category. He was pretty much the best or top of the pack. Goes 8 under on Sunday. I believe he birdied like 5 of the last 6 or something along those lines. He had a 373-yard drive, so he had about 180 in on a par 5. Everything that could go right went right for Rory after we basically said we don't know what's wrong with him. Bucks, what's your takeaway from Rory this weekend? Because when Rory's playing like that, that's tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean,
that Captain Obvious, I know. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was incredible. I mean, we talked, Jesse, and you talk about this being like the best year for golf ever, like one of the best years, and Rory throwing that out there on Sunday is just another reason for that. I mean, and we talked about it on the pod, like I didn't play Rory. He hasn't shown anything in his last few events to make me want to play Rory, but would I be surprised if he went out there and won like he did? No. And I wasn't surprised, because when he gets hot, he gets super hot. But I think the difference was his putter. I mean, he was unreal. And even when he missed a green, he chipped it in. And so it was awesome to watch. I mean, you had Rose and Tiger and Rory and Stenson, everybody on the planet that you'd love to watch, kind of all trolling around the leaderboard. So it was awesome. Good for him. And if you haven't seen it, I retweeted it on Twitter a couple minutes ago, but Jack Nicklaus had a really awesome message to Rory after the win, kind of on Arnie's behalf. And so it was really, really cool to see that.
It was really sweet. It's a 2-parter tweet deal. It's pretty darn awesome. I agree with you there. Jesse, what's your thoughts on just this insane season, or Rory, or whatever? It's just awesomeness.
Yeah, he gained, I think, like 5 shots putting going into the weekend, and was like, I think he was losing or right about even hitting the ball, which is pretty incredible for him. I mean, he obviously putted very well, which was his crux. And they talked about it on the telecast, where basically they said he had tried to be less technical, and that's basically what it came down to, was just getting out of his own head, which is a lot of golf. I mean, but to put on that performance and gain that many strokes putting is pretty incredible. We did mention him last week as being the bust. None of us took him necessarily because he was the easy one, but man, that was a crazy Sunday for him. And of course, you know how that translates going forward with the putter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, because I remember I tweeted out, what the heck so different? And everyone, he changed his putter. I'm like, I get that, but what made him decide, like, this is the time to do it? And it just golf's such a crazy game like that. It can change so quickly. Something so minute as that. When you're as good as Rory McIlroy, he's gonna get it done.
He will not that well, but
ever again.
A handful of times in his entire career from here on out.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like, you look at his stats, like shots gained are just insane. Let me pull some of them up right here. He was doing things that you just don't hear about pretty much ever. But here we are. Sorry, this is great radio. I'm trying to do 4 things here. I just had it here a second ago. Well, to Henrik Stenson, he choked it, but Rory started 2 strokes back. Here's some just stats. Started 2 strokes back. He's won 5 of his 13 PGA Tour wins. He started 2 strokes back on Sunday, so that's not a new thing for him. But when you look at his last one on tour was in 2016, which is crazy when you think about how good he's been. It's been that freaking long. But, yeah, I can't find the stats now all of a sudden. But it was something like 4-point-something strokes gained on putting. It's asinine.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
But after that great bit of radio there, let's talk about Tiger Woods, because why not talk about Tiger Woods? He was just awesome. And, after Thursday 4 under, everybody thought, oh, here he comes. And then he kind of just waded through the waters on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, here came Tiger. And he finished Saturday saying, hey, I'm 5 shots off. I got a chance. And sure as hell he had a chance. He made it look good. Then he got a little aggressive, and he admitted it after that he shouldn't have made that a shot where he found the water. Still another great weekend, Bucks. Thoughts on Tiger?
Yeah, man. I mean, Tiger's back. I mean, we've talked about it a couple weeks, and, you got 3 straight insanely good finishes during a time where finding that kind of consistency is just honestly unheard of. You got a couple guys on tour that we've seen kind of do that, but for Tiger to come back the way that he has and have 3 straight finishes inside the top 15, top 10 is just phenomenal, and he looks awesome. I think if he can the last few events, if you look, it came down to like one swing here, one swing there. But I'm telling you, before long, it is going to all click. He's going to get his putter working. His irons have been phenomenal. Wedge game, phenomenal. When he finds that driver that 1 week and actually putts well, I fully expect him to pull off some sort of dominating performance like we used to see back in the day.
No doubt about it. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, he's impressive with the putter, and at like usual. I mean, he was always a great putter, and he just continues to roll them in. And it's kind of once he gets the rest of the game, especially off the tee, the driver is still not perfect by any means. But once he gets that straightened out, he's going to be a force to reckon with. I think it's also, too, just getting back in the groove of being in contention, because those nerves, no matter how many times you've won, you take a couple years off from winning, you forget what that feels like. It's a new feeling, kind of get out of whack. So, a few more, I would suspect this summer. I got a feeling by this summer, Tiger is going to be winning a golf tournament.
Yeah, no, it's definitely happening, and I can't wait till it does. So, last thoughts on the Arnold Palmer, another, like I said, great tournament. Stenson was there, DeChambeau, who we talked about last week. Bucks, you mentioned him, and we were in, but still cautious with the back issue, and so many other guys played really well. List is another big week from Luke List, who maybe he's turned the corner, and the list goes on and on. Final thoughts on the weekend of the Arnold Palmer Bucks?
I really wish Stenson would have won.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, dude, I was so sick about that.
Honestly, I was incredibly happy with the entire event. The only thing, or the biggest surprise for me, was how bad Cam Smith played. So, other than that, the tournament was awesome. If you complain about the finish in that event, you probably aren't a golf fan or not a very smart one.
No doubt about that. Any final thoughts, Jesse?
It was a trash week for me. Like, there were so many regrets and so many things that I normally don't do, and I did. It was just overall terrible week from a DFS perspective. But 2 weeks to the Masters, and our last couple winners are Rory McIlroy, Paul Casey, Mickelson, Thomas, Bubba Watson, Jason Day's won this year, John Rahm's won this year. Masters is setting up to be something extremely special this year.
Yeah, on paper, this is going to be epic, and it's pretty crazy that, barring what happens this week, and I believe Houston counts. It should count, but there's still guys that are playing on the WGC that aren't top 50 that don't have an invite to the Masters yet, like Ches Reavie, who had a hell of a run, and some other guys. So even some of these guys that have played really well, maybe not won an event, because if they won, they'd obviously be in. There's some big names, or not big names, but some intriguing names that aren't even in the Masters yet, and it already looks like an awesome field. So looking forward to that indeed. Let's get into the first of the two events, the WGC Dell Technologies match play. We're recording this right after the brackets have dropped, so we'll kind of preview each foursome bracket and then give some DraftKings prices as we see fit. But before we get there, Jesse, this is, I believe, the third year at this course in Houston. What's your past event history?
That is correct. So this would be the third year. It was played here in 2016 and 2017. 2015 was in California. 2009 through 14 was in Arizona. But I still think that winning a match play event is relevant because the mentality is just so different playing match than it is stroke play. Last year, Dustin Johnson was your champion over John Rahm. 2016, Jason Day was your champion over Louis Oosthuizen. 2015, Rory McIlroy over Gary Woodland. 2014, Jason Day over Victor Dubuisson. And then Kuchar's won in the past. Tiger's won. He's not playing, of course. Ian Poulter is another champion of this tournament who's playing this week.
Yeah, no, definitely. And last year's tournament was epic with John Rahm and DJ going down to the end. This is kind of – everyone knew who John Rahm was, but it wasn't quite the John Rahm we know now. So that was a pretty awesome weekend there. And one thing I will mention before we get into your course preview, Bucks, the one part I caught about when they interviewed John Rahm on the brackets, then I got busy. It was interesting hearing from him how he won't play the shell next week because that's what wore him out for the Masters, playing all this golf this week, because you play 3 rounds in your bracket. Then if you advance, obviously you're playing 5-6 rounds of golf easily, not even including the practice rounds. He says he played 2 practice rounds. So that's a lot of golf on these boys. So it's something to think about as we go on closer to the Masters, but I just wanted to mention it now. Always overlooked. Bucks, give us your awesome course preview as always.
Yeah, and I think just to touch on what you just said about being kind of wore out, not only are you playing 5-6 rounds of golf plus the extra holes, that kind of thing, but it's a different format, and these guys really enjoy it. But it's a grind rather than you playing your own ball and playing the course and that kind of thing. You're thinking about things differently, how to attack the golf course differently than you would typically. And I think that from a mental perspective is going to be exhausting as well, just because it's different. So, but yeah, onto the golf course. I mean, they're playing Austin Country Club, 7,100 yards, par 71. It is a Pete Dye design, and if you look at the hole by hole, I don't know if you guys have ever played a Pete Dye design or have any famous Pete Dye designs around you, but there are quite a few around here. One in particular is the Pete Dye Club in West Virginia, where they used to play a Web.com tour event. And there are some incredibly similar holes out here compared to that golf course. I mean, there's a couple holes. I think number 2 here at Austin Country Club is this like dogleg left par 4, and you cannot miss left because there's a ravine. And there's almost the exact same hole at that Pete Dye Club in West Virginia. So typical Pete Dye design, visually very intimidating. You do have room to hit the ball in spots, but you really do have to pick your spots. You can't just bomb it everywhere, go find it, hit it into the greens. It's visually intimidating. and you do have to play to certain places on the fairways, try to play to certain places on the greens. But overall, I mean, they should be able to have at this golf course. And with it being match play and playing against just one person that day and then it's over with, I fully expect to see ridiculously low numbers, like 8+ birdies around for a lot of these guys.
Outstanding. I believe the weather is supposed to be pretty nice unless anybody's heard anything different.
It is, yep. It's supposed to be nice. Chance of rain, I think, I don't know, late Sunday or something like that. But overall, really, really nice right now.
All right, Jesse, with this being a different event, can you give us a little breakdown of what the scoring is we're looking like in DraftKings?
Yeah, this is basically we're going instead of birdies and your normal scoring of just worrying about if your guy makes a birdie, you want him to obviously win the hole, whether that's with a par or even a bogey. That's what's going to give you a point versus just sitting there worrying about if a guy makes a putt for birdie or not. So for winning a hole, you get 3 points. If they have the hole, it's 0.75 points. So a halve is just simply having the same score on the hole. If you lose the hole, it's minus 0.75 points. So you think a hole's won like a birdie and hole's lost like a bogey. And then if you win the match, it's +5. If the match is halved, which in this case we can just wipe that out because none of these matches will be halved. They all go into extra holes, and there's a winner once you get to the brackets. Correct? Are there halves? Do you know, Bucks? Are there halves in the group play?
No,
I didn't think so. So no halves. Don't have to worry about that. That's listed on DraftKings scoring, but that will be for future, like when we get to. Hopefully, if we get this for the Ryder Cup, that will be important then. But and then you also get 1.6 points for holes not played. So say a guy wins on hole 17, and he'll get an extra 1.6 points for not playing 18. If that's 2 holes, they don't play 17 and 18, then. So that's basically your scoring. You can get some bonuses if you win 3 straight holes. It's like 3 straight birdies. You get 5 points. And if for some reason somebody doesn't lose a hole in the match, it'd be pretty rare, but it's a pretty big bonus too. 0.75 points for not losing a hole. So,
yep.
Kind of your breakdown there.
Yeah.
And then, do you want to get the withdrawal thing, Bucks?
Yeah. So one of the guys that we're friends with on Twitter, thankfully reached out to DraftKings, basically asking what happens if a guy withdraws, basically pre-match and basically gives it to one of the players. And so, because there's all sorts of per hole points and then streaks and bonuses and then not losing a hole bonus, that kind of thing, he asked basically what happens in that scenario where there is a WD. And basically they responded to him saying the non-WD golfer will receive holes not played bonus for all unplayed holes plus the match win. Basically what it comes down to is if there's a WD, the guy playing him would get 33.8 points for that one single match, which is just astronomical. And so they're getting 28.8 points in kind of like Jesse mentioned, the 1.6 points per whole thing, and then 5 points for the match win. The only thing they're not going to do is give them the streak bonuses and the no holes lost bonus, since they didn't play any holes technically. But yeah, if there's a WD, the guy playing him gets 33.8 points.
And that's big. That's tremendous.
Like, I noticed there was a lot going on Twitter about that, but does anybody remember that happening last year? Like that where a guy
Jason Day withdrew, so all 3 of his matches in his bracket were forfeited.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out, like, 33.8 is a ton, especially not having to do anything. But how many points would you typically expect to score in each of these matches? And so
True.
I was trying to figure it out with maybe 6 birdies, winning 3 or 4 holes, that kind of thing. And while it's not 33.8, I still think it's a fairly high amount.
I saw today somebody tweeted what DJ would have scored last year if he'd have won, and it was like 200 and some points by him winning. So throughout the whole entire week, he would have had like
Yeah,
200 and some points. So
yeah,
that's probably about 30 points a match.
yeah, the birdies are huge.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Basically, getting a free 33.8 points is so massive.
Sweet. All right, as we get ready to do our picks for the week, Jesse, what kind of key stats are you looking at for this event?
Man, so this is one thing where, like, I don't know, you can almost just throw the stats out the window, in my opinion, and because it comes down to who is a good match play player. So there, it's hard to quantify. It's hard to put on paper. It's hard to make a model with that. But I will be looking at guys who hit it long and then hit it on the green. Because if you're hitting it far, you got a little intimidation, and if you got a birdie putt, that can make your opponent think a little bit as well. So match play is just so different. This is going to be a fun week because of that fact, in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, you can't just model this out into a perfect scenario like we try to do every week with normal stroke play events, because you're playing the golf course there. Here you're playing your opponent one hole at a time.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at again, this is a different beast this week. But typical match play, I want a guy that I know can make birdies. I am fine with going at the guys that are overly aggressive to a fault at some points. And so you'll see a lot of guys, again, with this not having to worry about a cut or anything like that, you'll have a lot of guys where they make a ton of birdies, but they'll throw in a double here, a couple bogeys around, that kind of thing, which are huge deterrents normally. In this event, you can make a quad and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's a one hole. So
unless it's the last hole.
well, yeah. And so I'm really looking for the guys that have a high propensity for birdies, that I don't really care if they make a big number or not. And for me, as far as distance goes, I'm not too concerned about it because I could throw it either way. Like, yes, distance is a huge intimidating factor, but if you got a guy that's shorter and hits a lot of greens and has great iron play, that's just as much pressure on the guy that hits it farther than him to perform as well. So for me, I'm looking at a lot of points scored and putting, because those are the two most tilting things about match play, is a guy that just makes everything.
Yeah, no, you put the pressure on him with your putter, and it'll go a long ways. And I agree with the guy that can bomb it will intimidate some other guys that can't. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Let's kind of go through the brackets. 64 golfers. There's four-man pairings basically. So the 1 seed led by Dustin Johnson, number 1 player in the world, and his 4 golfers. The winner of that bracket will come out and play the 16th seed, and then an actual bracket will play out from there, so on and so forth. So let's just go through each bracket real quickly, kind of keep it Twitter answers or as briefly as possible. Then we'll do some DraftKings after that. Yep. But the 116, the one you got Dustin Johnson, Kevin Kisner, Adam Hadwin, and Wiesberger going up in the one bracket. Bucks, what are you seeing on this one besides the defending champion standing out?
I mean, yeah, DJ definitely stands out by far. I do like Kisner in this group, though. If I had to choose one of these guys to upset DJ, it would be him. I like the way he plays, and I think he has that real grinder mentality, can throw up some birdies, and he's not the guy that'll get intimidated or back down to DJ. So I do like Kisner.
What about you, Jesse?
Lock in DJ and move on.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty much DJ. If DJ doesn't advance from here, and from this bracket at least, it'd be pretty surprising. One thing I want to mention before we carry on, the first timers in this event, and that could come into play, is Cantlay, Finau, Fratelli. Hadwin did play. Looks like played. It might have been a different WGC. James Hahn, Harmon, Reeve, Schauffele, Sharma, and Cam Smith. So something else to think about when they're going up, because like Adam Hadwin has been playing good golf, but I could see him melting to a Dustin Johnson. So let's move to the 16th side of this bracket. You got Kuchar, the 16th player in the world, taking on Ross Fisher, Ikeda, and Zach Johnson, the always underappreciated Zach Johnson. This is a little more intriguing. Jesse, what are you seeing on this part of it?
Yeah. So, I mean, immediately when that came out, like the immediate response was ZJ. He's got a pretty good record overall. Let's see if I can find it here real quick.
I got it for you. He's got a very good record. He's 18-10-1.
Yeah. So in all time, including everything, he's 19-17-1. So he's probably going to be decently chalky, but I don't know. I would, like, for DK purposes, I'd stay away from this. But if you're taking a shot, I would take maybe Fisher to come out of this group. I don't know. I really don't have a feeling for it at all.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, when we're thinking about this, is you're thinking who can advance to the big bracket for your DK, and then right out the gate facing DJ, not the best. Now, hey, we just watched the NCAA tournament. if DJ gets upset, well, now Fisher or ZJ or Kuchar or whatever looks freaking golden. So you never know what happens. Bucks, what are you thinking in this 16th spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a garbage bracket here, but I mean, I think you have to go Zach Johnson, and I think he may be the most popular play on the week because he's $6,800 on DraftKings.
They just can't give him any love, can they?
I mean, it's like
every week
you got like West Virginia at Marshall pricing. It's just garbage.
So true.
But yeah, Zach Johnson. I mean, I do like Ross Fisher, but I got to go with ZJ. He's starting to play better.
Yeah, I always love me some Cooch. I can't go wrong with Kuchar, but he's 8,300. That $6,800 Zach Johnson's tremendous, and he will be popular. And I like him. I probably like him more than Cooch in this bracket. It's just like you said, it's GPP. Do you think DJ can get upset? Zach Johnson's one of the more experienced players in this entire thing. He's 19-17-1, which is 51%, but the amount of rounds he's played in match play events is tremendous. So there's a lot to be said about that. As you guys know that play tournaments, it's a different animal. It's a different mindset, just turning it off from hole to hole basically. So let's go to the 8-9 side of things, where this is a lot closer, or could be. Got Jason Day, Usti, Duff Daddy, and James Hahn, one of the first timers, teamed up in the 8th bracket there. Bucks, what are you looking at?
I mean, it's hard to – I love Usti. I love Day. But I love James Hahn as an upset pick. Cheap value play here.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I can dig that. I mean, Hahn is playing – he's been playing some really good golf, 6,600 on DraftKings.
6,600.
I'll see that I like better than ZJ, but that might be chalkier. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, it could be less chalky because, I mean, I don't know if has Hahn ever played in a –
No, it's the first time period.
So he's a first-timer. Well, that'll be interesting, and that's kind of a GPP flyer type of deal there. Usti probably a little bit more of a safer pick, obviously, two-time winner Day. But, I mean, if you're going to pay up for him, you need him to get past DJ in the next round, assuming that DJ beats whoever is in the 16 there. So he would – that's – there's a lot of ins and outs, but I don't know about paying up for Day this week. But, yeah, Usti or Hahn, I do like those two. Usti also had 2 extra days off because
you missed the cut.
Missed the cut last week.
Garbage.
Yeah, but he has played well here in the last 2 T17 and a second at this tournament. $8,000 for Usti could be very sneaky, and in this bracket could be very nice. And he's got a ton of he's got a good track record, 18-10-2 at the match play, 60%. So something to think about there. Let's go to the 9th seed, who will face the winner of the 8th seed, and we have Tommy Fleetwood, Daniel Berger, Kevin Chappell, who's playing great, coming off a really good week at the Arnold Palmer, and then Ian Poulter. Ian freaking Poulter made the tournament. Jesse, what are you thinking in this 9 seed? I'll let you have the floor with Fleetwood.
Yeah, Fleetwood, man, I don't know what happened to him last week. He was just not hitting his irons very well, so I might steer completely clear of him. Poulter is interesting to me. He's 24-13 in match play, and that's pretty good. 30. That's just WGC. Overall match play, he's 36-16 with 5 ties, excuse me. And for $6,800, another GPP flyer there. Potential. I don't like this group other than potentially a Poulter GPP flyer.
What about you, Bucks?
I love Tommy Fleetwood's been a guy that I've been on for a while. I think we all have.
Yeah.
But this, to me, screams Berger all over it. Because he is a guy that can make a shit ton of birdies and then have a double here or a triple here, which won't kill him in this event. So I love Berger. He has that aggressive mindset, and he's cheap. So I'm picking him in this bracket.
Yeah, and this one, I as much as we love Fleetwood, this is a value play here. Berger and Chappie, 78-75, both guys that can put it out there pretty good. So there's a lot to like there. Chappie's playing really good golf. But Poulter's sneaky at 68 also. So, if you want to mix and match those three, if you're playing a bunch of GPPs, I don't mind it. I'm going Chappie. I just love the way he's played golf the last couple months. He's one of the best ball strikers on tour right now. So I really like what he's got going on. And I like his chances against the other people in the 8th bracket to at least advance to the 2nd round. So I'll go with Chappie. 4 versus 13. The 4th is Jordan Spieth. It's ironic. Patrick Reed's there after those comments he made on Sunday. Haotong Li and Charles Schwartzel. This is quite an odd foursome. Buck's thoughts?
I think Reed is kind of like that prototypical match play guy. Like Ryder Cup fires his ass up, and he plays so well in those events. But I am going to go Spieth. I think he starts playing really well heading into the Masters, so I like him here.
Jesse?
Yeah, he's going to be comfortable in this setting down there in his old stomping grounds of Austin, Texas. And Reed is Andrew Kirsch. He's already been called free money, so he has
free money. Okay.
Zero chance to be out of that pot there.
Well,
Spieth would be the play, in my opinion.
I figured Reed's already going to be chalky anyways because everyone's going to remember the Ryder Cup. And yes, match play is the same, but it's also slightly different than the Ryder Cup. But I like the way he's playing, especially. We've been talking down on Spieth, and I remember we talked about it already today. We were talking down on a guy named Rory McIlroy. Right. And Spieth is very, very good, obviously. He took a week off. Something tells me coming home – I'm not saying he's going to win this week, but he's still been making cuts for the most part. So he's not like just getting shellacked out there. He's been playing pretty well most of the time. If he doesn't bounce back this weekend, he's coming back, and this could be a great chance to do it and buy low. If not, in this bracket, Charles Schwartzel is the other guy I look at. A lot of these Euros can play really good in these match plays, so something to keep an eye on there.
If his putter comes alive, he has a real good chance to get into that Final Four.
Who's Spieth?
Yes.
Agreed. And the 13th seeded bracket here, you got Alexander Noren, Tony Finau, Peters, and Nah. Finau's first time in it here. Noren, Mr. Up and Down, so this could be the perfect event for him. Jesse, what are you thinking in this foursome?
I'll be all over Peters most likely. 7,600, not a bad price on him. Finau is another interesting option there. I'm going to say it, but like Noren, I just don't know. I was so heavy on him last week, and he pissed me off so bad. So I should probably go back and not be mad at myself. But I just don't know if he's going to be worth a shot here. Let's see what is his price.
8,700.
It's not a terrible price. He's obviously playing well enough. So I mean, he's probably another GPP guy that I could stand.
What about you, Bucks?
I'm going for now.
He's got the bombing ability to go crazy here, so I don't hate that at all. If it's not, I'm going Norin. I'll go the chalk on this one, but if not, Finau looks very, very nice. Let's go to the 5-12 bracket, like the NCAA tournament. Upset City, maybe. The 5th seed, we got Matsuyama, Patrick Cantlay, Cam Smith, and Miyazato. I'm sorry, but I probably butchered that. This is an interesting one. Bucks, what are you looking at here? Very interesting here.
Yeah, this is the from going down. This is the one that I had to think about the most because I think Matsuyama. This is a great course for him. I think he does really well in courses like this. I love Patrick Cantlay and I love Cam Smith. And Cam Smith he makes a ton of birdies, but he just can go off the handle with bogeys as well. So this event sets up well for him, but Cantlay's kind of the same guy. Like, he can make a ton of birdies as well. So this is really, really hard for me. But for brand purposes, I'm going Golden Cherub.
For brand purposes, I like that. You know what's kind of crappy about this, or I guess lucky for Matsuyama possibly? He has 3 first-timers in his bracket.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. What's your thoughts here, Jesse?
That's a very interesting stat there. I mean, he's only 9,000 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's why it kind of stands out more than normal. And trust us, if people listen, not the Matsuyama guy.
he didn't play awful. I mean, he made the cut last week, and, you know, I think he was probably just working on some stuff or whatever. He finished 49th. Didn't play good on Sunday. Dropped back a little bit. And at 9,000, in my opinion, I mean, he's a guy who can hit a lot of greens. So,
yeah, I look at Matsuyama and Cantlay. Those are the two I'd be looking at. Let's go to the 12 seed. You got Tyrell Hatton coming off another rocky week. Charlie Hoffman playing well, coming back to Texas. Brennan Steele and Levy. Jesse, what are you looking at on this one?
Yeah, for me, it'd be Hatton or Steele. Not a terrible price on Hatton. One thing is he will probably be low owned because people don't like him, and he missed the cut last week. Yeah, so he also wore an Adidas shirt instead of any kind of golf apparel on the show today. So he just did F you into Golf Channel's face, in case you missed that.
Oh, nice.
He did have a sport coat on at one point in
time. Whatever he had on, I don't know what that was. The weather. But I like Hatton in this group. I like him quite a bit, actually.
Nice. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I like Hatton. I think that if I had to pick one of these guys, I mean, I know who you would likely pick, Bubba, but I would be going Hoffman.
Hoffman's actually the one I like at 6,900. That's one of the deals that I like to take. We know how he plays in Texas, and I'd like to take a chance here. Doesn't have the best track record in match play events, but not horrible. And I think, you know, again, I already said Ryder Cup's not the same, President's Cup's not the same. I think he might have learned a lot playing on the President's Cup though this past year with those guys. So Hoffman at $6,900, I think can go a long, long ways at home as one of the value plays on the slate. If not, Hatton, I do like. I have no problem with Hatton at least to get out of this bracket. But this 5-12, like those 8 names there, real good. Like that's just an up for grabs 8 right there. Pretty interesting. Let's go to the other side of the bracket, the 2-15 matchup. The 2 we got Justin Thomas, Francisco Molinari, Patton Kazire, and Luke List. Very intriguing bracket here. Bucks, kick us off on this one.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting side of the bracket. But I have largely faded the chalk so far, but I can't with Justin Thomas. Dude is a birdie machine. Perfect for this type of event, so I'm all over him.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, it's Justin Thomas. Just another lock-in. Move on.
Yep, I hate having to pass on Molly, and we talked about how well List has been playing, but JT in the house. And the shame of things is JT's going to lose to Pat Perez. No, I'm just kidding. The 15th, we got Patty Perez, Gary Woodland, Webb Simpson, and Siwoo Kim. This is a very good 15th bracket here. I didn't get to watch the show with volume on. Perez had a cocktail. Did I see that?
Yes.
God bless that man. God bless him.
He also talked about why he cut his hair, because it was blowing up in his face and he couldn't see his golf shots.
God, I love him. God damn, I love him.
He also said this is 3 easy wins.
I love it. He's the man of the people. This is the guy you play at your local course with. You're drinking beers on the course, and he talks trash. This is the guy. I love it. Jesse, what are you thinking in here? Are you going Patty Perez, or are you deviating?
I mean, I'll probably just not even touch this group, but if I had to pick one to come out, I would take Perez.
What about you, Bucks?
I am going with the best putter on tour.
Well, your boy, Simpson. Stay on brand.
Simpson.
Yep, there you go. Isn't Gary Woodland a Texas boy?
Best putter on tour. Wow.
Gary Woodland's a Texas boy, isn't he?
I believe he is, yes.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. He's got a pretty good track record of match plays. So, yeah, but this one, I kind of agree with you. I don't want anything to do with. But if I had to go with just one, I think I'm going Gary Woodland. I'm going to go off the Pat Perez path. I go Gary Woodland at $8,100. Let's go to the 710. 710. This one should be fun. We got Sergio Garcia, Xander Schauffele, Fratelli, and Sharma. Garcia coming off, they had a baby a couple weeks ago, but he's so good at match play, any type of match play. Jesse, what are you looking at in this 7th seed?
Fratelli's interesting because apparently he's played here a lot. So they did an interview with him. If you missed the bracket show there, they did an interview with him, and he's played here because he played at University of Texas. And he actually said he was playing with Xander, and Xander was trying to get tips out of him. He's like, well, I might play in the same bracket. You don't want to take too much. And here they are. So Fratelli's interesting for that reason. But he also said it was kind of weird because he also said, I don't want to be in the same bracket as Sergio. And here I am in the same bracket as Sergio. So is he already defeated, when he plays Sergio? And Sergio has the baby narrative streak going on there. So $8,900, not a bad price on him. I'd probably take Sergio.
Yeah, and it's another one like Matsuyama. All 3 guys are first timers, so that's going to should play him big for Sergio, but we'll see. What are you looking at, Bucks?
Sergio, there it is. So got the picture.
I do like Sergio a bunch, but I really like Sharma and the way that he has been playing lately. So if I had to pick 2 guys here, it'd be Garcia or Sharma. But I would assume that Sharma's like $6,500 or some stupid number. 72, yeah. So he's super cheap. I like Sharma a lot.
Yeah, I like Sergio and I like Schauffele. Schauffele at $7,400. I can definitely get behind that, but Sergio at $89 is tough to pass up. So 2 I'll be looking at there for sure. The 10th seed, Paul Casey, going up against Fitzpatrick, Kyle Stanley, and Russ Henley. Bucks, what are you looking at in the 10 seed?
Yeah, Paul Casey. I mean, this is I said it on Twitter. This is the cakiest cake bracket grouping ever, and likely that means Casey loses somehow. But yeah, I mean, it's 100% Casey here. I mean, 100%.
$8,800 is tough to pass up. Anything else there, Jesse? Or are you going all Casey?
I would actually. I lean Stanley. He's a super cheap guy, $6,800. So I mean, Casey's price isn't terrible, but Stanley's not playing bad. He's getting better.
He is getting much better. And if you're going to take the cheapies, take them where they have a chance to advance, and this would be one of them compared to the 15th or the 16th. So something to think about there. Let's go to the 314 matchup. You got in the 3, John Rahm, Mr. Affie Barnhart, Ches Reavie, and Keegan Bradley. Pretty standard procedure here. Are we going different, Jesse?
Yeah, that sucks for Kara Deck, man. I was all ready to hammer him in DraftKings and then ODA him as well, and he gets put in there with Rahm, who's a buzzsaw. So, I mean, it's hard to fade Rahm.
Yeah. What about you, Bucks?
Just Rahm all day. Love him.
Yeah, $10,800.
Guy for this course. Yeah.
Yeah, he can bomb. And if you ever want to talk about a guy that can have a blow-up pole and not make it matter, this is the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
The spitting image. And I want to see him play Phil Mickelson the following round. That would be outstanding as well. The 14th, you got Phil Mickelson, RCB, Codera, and Chucky 3 sticks. Quite a. I almost want to say friendly bracket, but not quite for Phil. Bucks, what are you looking at here?
I love Phil Mickelson. Yes, I do think it is a fairly tough bracket, but I think Phil lip wedges his way around the golf course, wins this bracket, and like you said, makes his way to Nostradamus next round.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Phil potentially could be a little bit chalky. But Bello could too. He's got really good match play history,
really good.
Including the third here 2 years ago. So I would lean Bello. But at 8,000 versus Mickelson at 9,300, I would take Bello on that matchup.
That's exactly where I said. If it comes down to you're trying to save money, I go Bello, and I actually think Bello might have a better shot to beat Jon Rahm, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Mickelson do it just for the trash talking he'd have with Rahm alone. That would be pretty. It'd be a fun matchup to watch, but I think Rahm might just drive it past him so many times it'll just piss Phil off and he'll explode. RCB for me at least to make it competitive there. And we go to the 6-11 matchup. We talk about the last week's champion, Rory McIlroy. We got Brian Harman, Johnny Vegas, talk about a bomber, and Peter Uihlein, who we'll talk about on another show, but saw his name this past week, and I was like, damn, this is the guy we thought would really come on this year. He's kind of putted along. But, Bucks, what are you thinking of the 6 seed?
Oh, man. This is a good one. I do like this one a lot, but I love Harman this week. I think in any other circumstance, I would pick McIlroy in a heartbeat, but I think there's a 0% probability of him putting even half as well as he did last week. And I think overall Brian Harman's a better putter. So I'm going to go Harman.
I love it. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I can't see Rory backing that up, but he does hit it long and straight.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty weak group in my opinion. So I would just go with Rory, but he's 10,000 on DraftKings, so I don't know.
Yeah, Rory seems like a great play. I'm going to go Harman at 75. I agree. I was talking about him last week. This guy's playing some really good golf, and that putter could come up clutch this week. Out of the 4 guys in that group, Harman's the putter for me. So give me Harman, and hopefully he makes it happen. Let's go to the final bracket here, the 11th seed. You got Leishman, Brendan Grace, Bubba Watson, and Mr. Surrey. Seems like Watson's bracket to me, but Jesse, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, Watson. I mean, that's who I would lean towards there. Leishman flashed some decent form last week, so he might be a play. He's actually at 86, and Watson is at 82, so pretty similar in price, but I would lean Watson.
What about you, Bucks?
This is actually a tough one for me because I do like Surrey a bunch. I do like Brendan Grace, but I got to go Leishman. I don't think that Bubba Watson is a good enough putter to really I mean, he can make birdies all over the place, but I just don't think he's a good putter, and I don't want him in a match play event being a mediocre putter.
Oh, that's very fair. I'm going to go Bubba, but it's a very valid reason. And we've seen Leishman, he can go all in on rounds or he can really scuffle. So definitely something to keep in mind. All right, there's your brackets. We went through kind of who we want to win or think will win. Real quickly, we'll just kind of give a couple guys in each price range that we like, and then we'll get to the other DraftKings topics we usually talk about. So in the 10,000 and above range, you got DJ at 11.8, JT 11.4, Rahm 10.8, Spieth 10.5, Rory 10,000. Bucks, if you had to pick one guy in that range, who are you taking?
Rahm.
Jesse?
JT.
Yeah, I think it's hard to ever fade DJ, but I think Rahm. I'm on Rahm. I just hope to God he's not as much as people claim to be. For the 9,000 range, you got 4 guys. Fleetwood at 97, Mickelson at 93, Day at 92, and Matsuyama at 9,000. Jesse, if you had to pick just one, who are you playing?
Day.
Bucks?
It would be Day. Mickelson's a close second, but it would be Day.
Mickelson's a close second, but for strategy purposes alone, I'm going Matsuyama. I'm looking to advance.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's go 8,000 range, where we got about 10 or 11 guys. You got Sergio, Paul Casey, Alexander Noren, Leishman, Tyrell Hatton, Patty Perez, Kuchar, Watson, Gary Woodland, RCB, and Usti. Bucks, give me a couple that you like here.
Casey, cakewalk in his group. At least it should be. And then outside of him, man, I don't know. I'm not really on any of the rest of this guy. Maybe Leishman, because I'm not on the rest of them.
Yeah, it's an interesting range for sure. Jesse, what about you?
Price-wise, I like Hatton and Bello. The thing that you got to figure out on this is, like, you got to look at the bracket, figure out who you think can really advance.
Exactly.
You're going to need 6 guys that come out of the pods, and then, you know, in order to win a GPP, you probably need the final 4 and then the final 2. I mean, so there's a lot of strategy involved as far as that goes.
And then something else to mention, on Sunday when you have the final pairing 1 versus 2, there's a consolation 3 versus 4. So you'll have 4 guys playing on Sunday. So I believe you'll get DraftKings points from the consolation as well. My 8,000 is RCB, and most likely, I guess, Sergio at 89. That's where I'd be looking. 7,000s, we have a handful, so I'm not even going to read them off unless you need me to. But Jesse, give me a few that you like there.
Yeah, guys, I'll probably be heavy on Peters. I really like Luke List. I don't like his draw being with Justin Thomas, but he just kind of got shafted on that deal. Otherwise, I would be all over him. So he could be a kind of sneaky GPP play if you're fading Thomas. And I think Steele probably has a little bit of reason to play as well. You know, but it just kind of depends. You know, this thing is so you got to sit down and like seriously make out the bracket and like, dude, it's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sweet. Bucks, what are a couple of guys we're looking at here in the 7Ks?
Yeah, a few guys that I like that we've touched on: Tony Finau, Daniel Berger, Webb Simpson. Those 3 I really like. And then moving down, Brian Harmon I think is mispriced. Patrick Cantlay, Kevin Kisner, I love this week, and Sharma.
Yeah, 7K definitely has its luxuries this week. I'm looking at Chappie and Harmon. They're at 75, both. Schauffele at 74. I do like quite a bit. And then there really wasn't anybody I was dying to play down here. But if I'm going to go GPP and kind of different, Luke List at 73 for an upset could be interesting to me. All right, 6Ks is another chunk of guys here. Bucks, who you liking? Because for once, we have good guys, and Zach Johnson leads the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, Zach Johnson I think is ridiculously mispriced, so he'd be my number 1 guy down here. I really like James Hahn, and I am obviously on the Golden Cherub, Cam Smith.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, you just named all the guys. One guy that I mentioned before, but I'll mention again, is Poulter.
Yeah,
he's got a good match play history, so I'll probably sprinkle him in on a lineup or 2.
Yeah, 24-13 at the match play. Didn't play the last 2 years, but definitely someone to keep in mind. But yeah, ZJ at 68. You know, if you're going to take chalk, I guess that's not bad chalk. James Hahn, I agree with you guys there. And other than that, yeah, no one else I'm really looking at. Maybe Hoffman, I don't mind playing in Texas at 6,900. We're not going to do the punt plays or the bust or anything like that. We kind of went over that in the brackets.
You need to do winner though. Overall,
no, I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
I was basically telling we're not going to do the normal. We'll save that for the next event. But Jesse, since you beat us to it, who is your pick to win this event? I won't fault you if you go chalky because this is one of those where
his odds are so short. But I do like JT at 12-1. So.
All right, JT in the house. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, I freaking love Rom this week, but
14.
that's going to be super chalk, I would assume. As a flyer, and I guess it's not really a flyer, but I do like how good Sharma's playing.
I like the balls on that one.
It's only 90-1, so.
That's it, yeah. Throw 100 on him.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. If I'm going to go out on a limb here, and it's a big limb, and this is going to sound really weird coming from me, give me Hideki Matsuyama.
33. That's not bad.
I like his draw. I like his price. I could see him making things real interesting here.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm looking at that. All right, let's do a quick run through just because they do have some young guns at this tournament that we've talked about in the past and could be a little bit of fun, especially for people that know these players. Of the Corales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. First time for the PGA at this event. Web.com's played here. Anything else on the past history that I missed already?
Yeah, I mean, the last two champions of this, I guess this is when it was Webb. No, it was first played in 2016. Yeah, so it was Webb the last 2 years. The last two winners were Nate Lashley and Dominic Bozelli.
And Bozelli's a good Euro player that we've seen quite a bit.
Yeah, he plays over in America quite a bit. He's more of a
yeah. Oh, he's a good player. Bucks, what do you got for a course preview?
Yeah, this course is insanely long, like 7,600 plus yards. It's not playing firm, not playing fast, so it's playing all of that 7,600 and then some. Super long par threes. So, I mean, the fairways are pretty generous, which is great. A lot of rolling undulations in the greens, a lot of runoffs, obviously a ton of bunkering, that kind of thing. And then from a weather perspective, it looks like Thursday afternoon around 2 o'clock or so, you're looking at potential for a little bit of rain. And then Friday afternoon, a higher probability of rain at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's something to keep an eye on when you're looking at weather. But even though it's insanely long, the greens are pretty receptive and scoring is low here. Last year, Web.com winner was like 20 under, and the cut was 4 under. So they're still making birdies on this course. But yeah, 7,600 yards, par 72.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of scoring here. When Bozelli won, he had 22 birdies, 3 eagles, and 4 bogeys. And when Lashley won, he had 22 birdies and just 2 bogeys. Everything Josh Culp, who we talk about a lot, this is from his article, and he has a bunch of quotes from guys that have played here before, and it's basically bombs away because it's wide open. And they said the greens are pretty slow for PGA greens, so you can putt pretty easily on here. Outside of the undulations, that could make it tricky, but the greens are so soft. They said the paspalum greens that it like sticks. It doesn't. You can just put darts on the greens basically because they're not going to roll up there. They're not going to roll off that often. So yeah, scoring conditions are going to be outstanding, and that's what part of it is going to be fun to watch because it's going to be a birdie fest, and it's going to be kind of cool. But with that being said, I kind of round out my key stats in a roundabout way. What stats are you looking at, Jesse?
Yeah, dude, this is another thing where I'm just sitting back going, I don't know what it's going to end up happening down there. I have heard the greens are kind of small, so scrambling, it probably will play a factor. Driving distance, since it's so long, greens and regulation, like usual, birdie or better. I mean, my usuals, most likely and all that stuff. But this is like, I equate this to kind of like a European Tour event that we play on DK, where it's pretty wide open. I don't know do you guys remember was it Puerto Rico last year that was opposite the WGC Mexico?
Bahamas?
It was something that was opposite of the match play. Not Mexico. It was opposite of match play. And that's all we had on DraftKings. And I think like the 3 top price guys missed the cut. It was like
the Bahamas, like something.
It was crazy. So this event, like, I'll probably dip my toes in the water here, but I'm not dropping hammers, I don't think.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Bucks, what are you looking at here?
Throwing darts at the dartboard.
Yeah,
I
I like it.
But that's the crazy. Like, I would love to have a guy that hits it long off the tee. It is generous fairways, so hit it long off the tee, and a guy that has a good mid to long iron game and can putt. Yeah, like total all around game, cool. But like the majority of these guys, not majority, but there's a large portion of these guys that like you don't have a ton of stats on.
Yeah.
Recent form stats, anyways, and so it really is just throwing darts at guys that you think have that opportunity, more of a gut play rather than all stats kind of thing. But yeah, I do want guys that hit it long and have a tendency to hit a bunch of greens.
For that reason, too, there's going to be a lot of chalk in this. So if you're a controller player, this isn't a bad event to play. They mean to bump into either, Bubba.
No, it's fine. I was just about to get us into our DraftKings so we can fly through this quite a bit and laugh at some of these prices because we have 5 guys over 10K. You got Emiliano Grillo is your highest priced guy at 11.6. Now, all these prices are going to sound funny, but it's relative to the field, let's put it that way. And it's 132 golfers also, I believe. So not a full field, but pretty close. You got Piercy at 11.2. Jim Furyk, the third highest priced golfer at $10,800. Rory Sabatini, your boy Bucks at 10.4, and Patrick Rogers at 10,000. To me, the chalk's going to be Grillo and Rogers, and rightfully so. But Bucks, what are you looking at in this top tier area?
Sabatini all day.
Your boy.
I don't like Furyk. I don't like Piercy. I don't like Rogers. If I had to choose one guy here, it'd be Sabatini. I like Grillo, but he's a terrible putter. So.
Yeah. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, that price is really ridiculously high on Grillo. Even in this event,
and he's the favorite at like 8-1.
Obviously he's probably the class of the field, but I'd rather just fade this range and just try to get 6 through and that's going to be a lot easier to do if I don't play this range. But if I do get up there, Grillo's going to be the one I play out of this whole entire bunch probably.
Yeah, to get 6 of 6 through, it might be better to steer clear of here because on a normal week we hate the $6,000 range. I haven't even looked and I'm scared.
So I can't
imagine. But Patrick Rogers, I believe, played here on the web and shot like 16 or 17 under. So he's played pretty well here at 10,000 if you're looking into that. Let's talk 9K. We've got 5 guys. You got Graham McDowell at $9,800, Dunn at 96, Wood at 94, Corey Connors at 91. That's a name people know. That's another thing. You mentioned chalk. If people know a name, they're already gravitating. So just remember that. And then you got Paul Garrigus. Garrigus is at $9,000. Jesse, what do you like in the 9K range?
Connors, I will probably have on a team. He did finish 53rd here a couple years ago. He's playing a lot better this year or more recently. But he's making cuts on the PGA Tour, so you would think he'd be able to make a cut on this web PGA Tour event. Chris Wood is interesting, though. He's a Euro Tour guy mainly, and he can bomb it. He's just kind of sketchy. So, but I think he'd be interesting GPP play at 9,400.
What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I think for this event, in you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but these type of events where you're opposite a big WGC, that kind of thing, it seems to be those events that are like the springboard for somebody that has been like killing it on the web.com the previous year or looking for somebody's first like real big break. And so rather than like, I'll probably play this a little bit, but rather than those guys that have been on tour a while and have had some success, that kind of thing, like Kevin Tway, JT Poston, I think I'm going to focus largely on the guys that we talked about earlier this season, those web.com guys, as our like players to look out for, rookies to look out for this year. So there are a couple guys in the 9K range that I like. But Corey Connors is one that stands out to me. I'll be looking at him. I do like Chris Wood, but again, I there's not really much to like in this range. And so I'm going to take a younger up-and-comer like Corey Connors and hope he thrives in a weak field.
Yeah, when it comes to Wood, I agree with what you're saying. Jesse, he's been playing really, really well in the Euro Tour. Last 3 events, T48, T13, and second. But Corey Connors, you do have to like. He's making cuts these days on the tour. Finished T16 his last event out. And he played here at the Web last year. T53 is not ideal, but he does know the course. I will say one thing. Graham McDowell, $9,800 may seem ludicrous, but if for some reason you're playing cash games this week, he's making cuts and finishing at least decent. For a cash game lineup, I don't mind Graham McDowell, actually. He could get you there because you don't need to win to cash there, of course. Let's go to the 8K range. We've got about 5 guys. We've got Zanotti, Trey Mullinax, Harris English, Kelly Craft, Hahn, Goosen, Lingmerth, Merritt, Poston, and Tway. Got 3 guys in this group that played here 2 years ago. Mullinax T11, Poston T55, Tway T11. I do like Trey Mullinax at $8,800. I like him most times when he's in the 6s. He's one of those guys I like, so I don't mind him here at all. Kelly Craft has played better his last 3 events as well at $8,600. Those are 2 guys I'd look at. And then JT Poston's a guy, he can be tilting as tilting can be. He's intriguing at 81. And Troy Merritt, he miscut his last time out, but we saw him make that run a few events prior to that. Another guy at 82 I don't completely hate. But Mullinax and Craft would probably be my 2 main guys here. Maybe Zanotti, the Euro guy, at 89. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I like a couple guys here. Mullinax, Harris English, I like. He has he's been playing and he has some stats that actually look decent for this course. I do like Lingmerth quite a bit this week to turn it around. He's been putting pretty well, so again, if he can hit some greens, I think he stands a chance to give it a run.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, besides the guys you guys have already talked about, one guy I'll mention that you guys haven't is Soo Han. I'm just going to call him Han. I'll go with Han. I've only got 2 events that I'm able to pull here on Fantasy Labs, and he made the cut at the Abu Dhabi Championship, finished 27th, and in Qatar about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he finished 13th. And he's a guy who should be very low owned, I would imagine. So I'll mention him, and I like him, actually, as GPP. So.
All right, let's check out the 7K range. It's locked and loaded, and actually has a handful of guys that played really well here on the Web.com, including last year's winner, Lashley, at $7,400. And a big name that Jesse definitely likes. Jesse, kick us off in some names you like in the 7K.
Adam Schenk.
Yep.
Lock him in.
He's T12 and T41 here.
I actually already bet him to win. But Schenk. Abraham Answer, 7,900. Finished 41st here at Web.com last year. Made 2 straight cuts on PGA Tour. Keith Mitchell, bomber. We talked about this guy at the beginning of the year on our preview pod. So he's one of those guys that falls in that category that Bucks was talking about, which I agree with. Taking some shots with some of these guys. Another guy is Tom Lovelady. I'm sure I'm stealing all of Bucks's guys at this point. Couple older guys. Johnson Wagner, potentially at 7,200. Bronson Burgoon at 7,300. Just a couple of grinder type of make every other cut on the PGA Tour who could surprise in this type of event. I'll let you guys take it from there.
What are you looking at, Bucks?
That's about it, man. About it. I do like one guy down low that we talked about kind of earlier this season, that rookie pod, was Denny McCarthy. He's a really solid player that has not been playing well, but again, this is kind of one of those events where a weaker field, somebody like that can kind of come back. But yeah, you mentioned Burgoon, Lovelady, Keith Mitchell, those kind of guys, and that's exactly who I'd be targeting. I'm not going to mention one guy because I'll let Bubba get to him.
I hope it's who I think it is, but I like the answer pick. Sam Ryder, T12, T2 here, so he does know this course at 78. I love my boy. He missed his cut his last time out, but Danny Fathour at $7,700. Is that the guy you're talking about?
No, Martin Flores.
Oh, Martin Flores. I was getting there. Damn it. $7,600. Yeah, he fits here for sure. So this 7K range, I almost feel like making a 6-man 7K range and just leaving cash on the table and see what happens. But
it's entirely possible.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you got because Mitchell can bomb it. Like you said, Seamus Powers, he T7 here is the only time he played at 75. You mentioned, Shank. Dahlman's played here. He's almost T10. Jaeger's T11 here. Got the defending champion Lashley. You got Burgoon, who we love. Lovelady. Davis Love the Third, another one of those cash game guys at $7,300. Honestly,
yep.
He makes his cuts. Keep an eye on him. Other than that, I'm not going to name off a ton, but there's a handful of guys in this range. I like the McCarthy call. Hit us up if you have any more questions. Smiley Kaufman's there at 71. He played horrible, but he does stand out more in this field.
Smiley this week.
I'm not playing him, but one last guy I will mention is our boy Duncan at 7K. He's played very well here, T3 and T33, so another guy to think about. But, yeah, there's a ton of names you can just throw darts at the wall in the 7K. Could be quite interesting, actually. 6K range, Bucks. What do you got?
Yeah, there's good Lord. I mean, I would play John Daly.
Dude, the names down here are amazing.
I mean,
they are amazing.
Yeah, Can I have John Daly, Dickie Pride, Len Matisse, Frank Licklider,
pretty awesome down here.
Slocum too. Can I get the all early '90s team?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's honestly not a lot of guys down here that I like or would play. Good Lord, I can tell you with 100% certainty that I will not be playing Tony Romo because that dude sucks. But outside of him, maybe. Well, I'm 100% playing Steven Bowditch somewhere just to say I played him. But yeah, honestly, legitimately, John Daly's the only guy down here that I think I might legitimately play.
What about you, Jesse?
If you just go through and look at these names, if you've played DFS golf for a long time, it's crazy where this has gone because there's a guy in particular, Brendan DeJong, who 2 years ago I used to plug in every week on a cat 2 years ago, and he has missed
he's 3 for 21.
It's not. And Mike Weir right there beside him. No, one thing that I will mention is I think it is very disrespectful to put Tony Romo in at 6,600 and then have actual professional golfers below him at 6,500 for DraftKings. He should have been 6,400.
Yes.
Just out of respect.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous in my opinion. That you would ever think.
I hope they have Bowditch versus Romo head to head somewhere.
Well, I hope Bowditch I hope this is the comeback tour. This is the beginning of the comeback tour for him. We're all pulling for him, obviously. But other than that, I just don't know that I'll touch this range at all. Try to steer clear of it. There'll be somebody out of here probably who does well, but who it is, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm grasping at straws here. I'm just looking at past history here. Yeah, Axley at $6,900, T16, T19. He's made 3 straight cuts on tour. That's one being a T7. So at $6,900, I'll give him a ring. Other than that, I want my 7K plan might take place. It just might take place. Let's just go. We don't have punts or busts. Who's your pick to win? Let's just skip to that because this is a rough one here. Who's your pick to win, Bucks?
I'll give to Sabatini and Keith Mitchell.
There you go. I like it. What about you, Jesse?
I think I already bet Keith Mitchell. But yes, I like Keith Mitchell as well. But I'm going to go with Shink, and I already bet Shink as well to win.
Yeah,
I just got here earlier and just started dropping like $5 bets on all these guys because it's so wide open. Like 60 to 1 on Adam Shink. He's normally 150 to 1. So I'll take a shot at him on this field, 66 to 1.
All right, my winner this week, Martin Flores. It's happening. It's happening. I got to stay on brand here.
66.
It's happening.
We all went 66 to 1 there. That's crazy.
Like you say, you might as well in this tournament. Why the heck not?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But all right, that'll wrap us up. A little longer than normal this week, but we wanted to kind of touch on both tournaments for everybody's DraftKings degenerations, whatever you want to do. But again, if you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. We're at Always Press DFS Bucks BP Snow 11. Jesse at DFS Golf Gods. I am at BD Entric. Any final words, Bucks, Jesse?
No, enjoy the week. Don't degen too hard this week. It's a tough week.
Jesse?
Degen very hard this week. I think it's a must. In the match play, like as many lines as you can possibly put together, just throw them all together and throw them in there because nobody knows what's going to happen. And then also, too, Wednesday lock. You got to remember Wednesday lock for the WGC, Thursday lock for if you're playing Dominican Republic. But I've got a feeling that a lot of people aren't going to realize that it's a Wednesday lock for the WGC, so could see some overlay there on DraftKings potentially.
Yep. And you know what could be a lot of fun is weekend golf for the Punta Cana. That could be exciting.
I mean, that'd be ultimate degen right there if you're trying to weekend golf that. But I'm sure they'll have it.
Oh, yeah. But all right, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast, WGC Match Play, and the Corales Puntacana Club Pro Championship, whatever tournament in the books. Catch you guys next week.